Goethe says, "We, the citizens of Europe, with our beliefs and principles, couldn't reach what Mohammed has reached, and no one will precede him. I've searched through history to find a top example for human, and I concluded that he is Mohammed. Therefore the truth must be revealed and raised, as Mohammed has succeeded, the one who bowed the whole world by the word of monotheism." Leo Tolstoy, the Russian writer who was forbidden by the church for his enterprise and free ideas, says, "I am one of those who, blinded by the prophet Mohammed, was chosen by the only God to fulfill his message, and to be the last prophet. And it is proudly enough that he has guided a whole nation to the light of truth, and made it live peacefully, and has opened it to the paths of prosperity and civilization." Alphonse de Lamartine, the French poet, says, "The remarkable incident in my whole life is that I have studied the life of the prophet Mohammed, and I have realized its greatness and eternity. Who dare to compare any man from history with the prophet Mohammed? Who is greater than him, looking to all criteria measuring man's greatness? His behavior in the time of glory, his ambitions to spread the message, his long-lasting prayers, and his celestial interlocution are all evidence to a perfect faith that helped him establish the basics of his message. The messenger, the project, the conqueror, the corrector of the beliefs, the one who established worshiping which is not dependent on images, is Mohammed. He has destroyed all beliefs, adopting mediator between the Creator and his creation." The Swiss theology scholar, Dr. Hans Küng, who believes that Jesus is just a man and a prophet who was chosen by God, says, "Mohammed is a real prophet, with all the meanings. We cannot deny that Mohammed is the guide leader to the path of survival. What is remarkable about Mohammed is that his life details and biography and virtues are all recorded in history. There are no mysteries in any part of his life. This was confessed by one of the most famous Western historians, the British Arnold Toynbee, who says, "Those who want to study the scented prophetic biography find much information they cannot find in such detail about the lives of other prophets." The famous Orientalist, Gustave Le Bon, says, "We know well enough about Mohammed's life, but the life of Jesus is nearly unknown, and you will not find details about his life in the Bible." The Orientalist Donald R. Hill says, "Mohammed has produced a nation to the world and enabled God's worshiping on the earth, and established the basis of justice and social equality, and applied systems, arrangements, obedience, and glory in a society that knows nothing but muss and disorder." George Bernard Shaw, the philosopher, says, "I've studied Mohammed as an amazing man, and I've found him away from antagonizing Jesus. He must be called the savior of humanity." Nowadays, Europe starts to understand the faith of monotheism, and maybe more than that, it confesses the ability of that faith to solve its problems by a way leading to peace and happiness. So, through that essence, you should understand my prediction. If we judge the greatness by measuring the influence of that great on the people, so we should say that Mohammed is the greatest great in history. He stopped racism and myths, and established over Christianity and Judaism and his country's religion a very clear and a strong religion that succeeded in being, until these days, a power with great danger. History has no man, except Mohammed, who is a message carrier, a nation establisher, a founder of a country. All these three things done by Mohammed was a unified unity, and religion was the power that maintained its unity over history. François-Marie Arouet, Voltaire, the French philosopher, says, "The Prophet Muhammad played the greatest role a man can do on earth. He brought a book and fight, and that is the least thing you can say about Muhammad. Islam never changed, but you and your priests have changed your religion 20 times. Michael H. Hart, in his recently published book, The 100, a ranking of the most influential persons in history, says, Mohammed was the only man in history who was supremely successful on both the religious and secular levels. Finally, we mention what the Russian poet Pushkin said. The chest was cut, removed from it the beating heart. The angels washed it, replaced it again. Arise, you prophet, move around the world. Enlighten the hearts of the people.